massive thousands today, but what a squad. Mina Kimes, of course, Ryan Clark, Dan Orlovsky, and Stephen A. holding it down. Let's turn to the NFL, because when the Browns decided to trade Joe Flacco to the Bengals, most assumed that it would clear the path for Shedeur Sanders to be the team's backup QB moving forward. But nope, head coach Kevin Stefanski was not ready to make that commitment to the rookie, and he remains undecided between Shedeur and practice squad QB Bailey Zappi.
Joe trade took us by surprise. That was not something that we saw coming. You know, they called us, and you know, it happened very fast and happened not too long ago. So still working through all roster type of things. Young players, I'm always thinking about last week making the change to Dylan. You have to think long and hard about that, because these are young players that you're so invested in their development. So I'll let the week play out and make a decision later on that.
Yeah, I imagine that Stefanski has a long list of things he's got to think long and hard about over there with that squad. But this not knowing the backup QB, is that fair or foul, Stephen A., for Stefanski?
I think it's a little foul to me. You know, I'm deferring to three exceptional NFL minds, and I know that. But just giving my opinion, you ever heard of the smell test, that something just don't smell right? Mm-hmm. That's just how I feel. Like, you know, when Joe Flacco got demoted, y'all, I was like, okay, you know, he should be the QB3, because why would you bench him and then leave him as the QB2 when you're elevating Dillon Gabriel to the QB1 and Shedeur Sanders is right there starving and waiting for an opportunity? So I looked at it like that, and I just said to myself, okay, but that's how it goes. You know, Joe Flacco's a veteran. You know, Kevin Stefanski, you know, knows what he's doing as a coach, etc. But then something like this happens. We're supposed to sit here and believe that Bailey Zappi is a guy that's the QB2 on this squad. Really, that's what we're doing now? I just find that to be a bit fishy. And so, you know, Dillon Gabriel obviously is your QB1. He's a guy that has earned the opportunity to do that. Mina pointed out last week, accurately so, he had a better performance in the preseason than Shedeur Sanders did. I get that part. Shedeur Sanders played well, albeit against Carolina. Obviously, another game in the preseason, not so much. And I get that part too. And of course, I get the fact that he's practicing with the team every day, so the coach knows. I'm just finding it hard to believe that it's so difficult to name him a QB2, especially when you say you're so invested in the kid's development. Well, Dillon Gabriel, even though he's played far significantly more in college, like 64 games in college over a 6-year period, I get that part. But still in all, I don't like how this feels. I just don't.
Well, one, let's see what he says. Like, let's see, once they declare who the number 2 quarterback is going to be, who that actually is. Stephen A., when you say it doesn't smell right, in what regard? That would be my question, because are you saying it doesn't smell right because he's not naming Shedeur, or that he's not naming anybody? I think the second thing is this, like, if he doesn't name it, go ahead.
Okay. No, I thought you was asking me a question. I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. I just thought you was asking me a question. My answer to you would simply be this. If you're telling me that how Kevin Stefanski is handling this situation as it pertains to a QB2 or QB3 is normal, I will defer to y'all. I will tell you that it seems to be an aberration more so than a normal situation for me.
I don't find it that abnormal. There's a lot of change going on at that position. There's a lot of change going on in this roster. They just made a trade last night at like 10 o'clock at night. So there seems to be a lot of moving parts with the football team. My overall takeaway is this. I honestly don't think it's that big a deal. We got to give him the opportunity to actually declare who the number 2 is going to be. If it's not Shedeur, do I find that disappointing? Yes. Do I find that odd? Yes. Would I be disappointed from a treetop view and a Shedeur perspective of, then why not? You know, why, when it's obviously been made clear that really they're trying to figure out that position for the rest of the season. I agree they're trying to win games, but like, that's a focal point. It would be what is going on that Shedeur can't even be essentially the 3rd string quarterback and obviously QB2 with Dillon Gabriel now?
I think if they go with Zappi, Dan, you know this, it's very rare for a rookie quarterback to back up another rookie quarterback. And I actually think that is a valid explanation. It doesn't mean technically that Zappi is more important to the franchise than Shedeur, or they even think he's better in the long term than Shedeur. It means if we're going to Pittsburgh and Dillon Gabriel gets hurt, we want an experienced quarterback to back him up. That is kind of the norm in the NFL. I mean, it's very unusual, and Dan, you know this, for a rookie to back up another rookie. All of that said, I am in agreement with Stephen A. about the sense I'm getting, which is the coaching staff doesn't believe in Shedeur Sanders, and that's their right. I do wonder, though, if organizationally they need to consider a trade or moving on, giving him a chance to end up somewhere else. I felt this way from the beginning when they drafted him. It seemed like an afterthought. It didn't seem to be the best landing place for him. So I wonder, Ryan, if a parting of ways should be in consideration. And I say that, by the way, not judging the Browns for the decision. That's entirely a football move.
Yeah, I think whatever Kevin Stefanski says is fair because it's Kevin Stefanski's team and it's his process. I also think it's extremely obvious that Kevin Stefanski doesn't mess with Shedeur Sanders the way the outside public believes that he should. When you think about this process, it feels that Kevin Stefanski wasn't ready to draft Shedeur Sanders, and then upon drafting him, he didn't put a plan in place to handle the person. You have to understand with Shedeur Sanders is going to come more media attention, more scrutiny. He's going to be treated unlike anything else in that locker room or anything else we see in the league based on his position. He won't be treated like a backup. He won't be treated like a third stringer. He won't be treated like a practice squad guy. You're going to have to answer questions about him, which is why you need answers prepared. If he is still figuring it out, which he should be, which he is, give them a reason why. Give them a Shedeur Sanders reason why. Give them a Bailey Zappi reason why. Don't give them an excuse. And I'm in full agreement with Mina. If he is not named the backup quarterback, it's time to part ways. It's time to trade him. It's time to get him out of your locker room because clearly your plan for development is not to develop Shedeur Sanders as a future starter of your team. And too much comes with him if you don't see that sort of plan for him.
Yeah, I want to take a moment, y'all, to share a somewhat personal experience covering sports, which raises my antennas, especially to you, Dan, because I think I owe you that insight from my perspective. So the year it's the 1996-1997 NBA season, and I think Ryan would vaguely remember this. Kobe Bryant is a rookie in the National Basketball Association. And to the producers, put them up there because I want to see them when I'm talking to them right now. So Kobe Bryant is in his rookie season. And Kobe Bryant is making a lot of noise. He comes out. Jerry West pulls off the heist where Kobe Bryant gets drafted by Charlotte, but ultimately the draft rights to Kobe Bryant comes to the Los Angeles Lakers. He's joining Shaq Diesel and the crew and stuff like that. Kobe Bryant did not start the first 2 years pretty much. He only started like 7 games in the first 2 years of his career in the NBA. This is his rookie year, Dan Orlovsky. But he talked so much and he was so confident. And the swag that he came with is what he came with. That was when the rumors were that Shaq tried to slap the living hell out of him at Loyola Marymount or whatever because he was so disgusted with his mouth, and Kobe was telling you what he was going to be, that he was going to catch MJ, that he was going to be MJ and all of this stuff. Let me tell you what happened. You remember that game when Kobe Bryant shot those air balls against Utah in the postseason? That was his rookie year when Shaq walked over and wrapped his arms around him. One of the reasons that happened, Dan, was because Del Harris, who is a very good man and was a damn good coach, got so annoyed with Kobe's mouth that he said, bump it, and threw him out to the wolves when everybody felt Kobe wasn't ready. And so what happens is Kobe had the intestinal fortitude, the wherewithal to